CNCF code of conduct, so please be excellent to each other. And there goes my other account leaving the meeting. I'm going to go ahead and toss the link to the meeting notes here in chat. And I will go ahead and share the notes, and then we'll get started. I promise everyone, I normally know how to computer. I just failed at computing today. So here we go. How's that look? Can everyone see that? I hope. All right, first let's get started. We are back from reInvent. I don't know if do we want to do a quick TLDR summary of how reInvent went. Unfortunately, we are conflicting with a reInvent session that we had scheduled for Cloud Custodian right now. That's where Liz and some of the other folks are working on a Cloud Custodian 101 session, actually, that's conflicting right now. So we went to reInvent. It was pretty amazing. We had a booth, talked to a lot of Cloud Custodian users and whatnot. Does anyone have any comments or anything they'd like to say? I, for one, was very happy to see so many people using and consuming Cloud Custodian, and that was fun. Anybody? All right, moving on. We have an important last call for AWS users. This would have actually taken effect on Monday. Has anyone in the call been affected by this? There were changes in Lambdas that forced us to make a new release, and updates had to go before Monday. So if you have not updated to the latest version of Cloud Custodian, if you're on Amazon, we strongly recommend that you upgrade to 0.9.14. And 1 second, I'm having all.
Well, while we wait for George, we can just pick up on the agenda items he has. So I guess there's no need for us to sit in silence per se. So George was just mentioning the important upgrades for AWS users. Obviously, if you haven't updated, it's a good time to do so, or else there's a good chance that Lambda-based policies may not be working as you expected. There's a webinar this Friday called Discover the Cloud Custodian Toolbox, applying policies across multiple accounts with C7 and org. The sign up for that is in the notes for this meeting here. I'll get George's back. You're not back. So because of that, there will be no doc sprint this Friday, as that webinar conflicts with that. And it's also the last meeting of the year. We'll be back on January 4th. Hey, George, are you back?
I am back. Thank you. Could you share the notes for me? I'm having like USB peripheral problems here.
Yeah, I could.
Sorry about that, everyone. All right, and you just finished with the webinar announcement for this Friday?
I'm up to this bullet point here, basically.
Okay,
the last
awesome.
Meeting of the year.
And Liz and I normally have a doc sprint. As Marco said, we won't be doing that this week. Also, the notes are a week behind due to reInvent. So after this meeting is finished, I normally publish the videos and notes and whatnot to the Google group. I'll be doing two meetings worth of updates there. So yeah. Next up, the CNCF annual report is due. This is something, if you're not aware, with the CNCF, it's the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, to which Cloud Custodian is a sandbox project in. And part of the requirements is putting in an annual report where we kind of share our statistics and whatnot over the past year. So if you're interested in that, you can click on the link there to see what the actual full report is. We are in the process of applying for incubation. I'm hoping to get all that kind of paperwork stuff in by the end of the year. And if you've noticed in the GitHub repo itself, we now have an adopters.md. You might see this in some open source projects, and a lot of CNCF projects have an adopters.md file in the root, which kind of shows the organizations that are using the project. This is actually one of the requirements for incubation, and it kind of shows, hey, show a bunch of companies that aren't the ones that you work for that use this project. So we've had some volunteers who've included themselves in there. And if you want to, if you're using Cloud Custodian, you want to help us out, you can always PR yourself in, or just let me know and I'll PR your organization in there. It's just a useful thing that the CNCF does to say, okay, well, who's using this in anger and who's willing to say that they're using this in production. So if you're using that and you're listening in, we'd love to have you listed on there. Before we get to the weekly PRs, you could scroll down here, Marco. Kapil, I know we had talked briefly whether we were going to do a release or not this week or not, or whatever. So I just left that open.
Yeah, RCI is having problems because AWS is having some issues in US East 1, which is actually sort of a blocker at the moment. So I was hoping to get it done today, but unfortunately, most of the morning it's been on the fritz there. The update itself is very small since we just had a release last week. It's really just trying to update a dependency. We'll see if we can get it done tomorrow morning. If not, then it'll have to wait till Monday.
All righty. Any
Just
other comments?
We generally don't release on Thursdays or Fridays. Just
Got you.
Kindness.
I appreciate that. Any other comments release-wise? Anyone have any comments on doing the release before the AWS Lambda changes? Everything thumbs up, it sounds like.
Hey Jay, have you heard anyone in this Gitter?
AJ says no issues so far.
I haven't heard anything.
I haven't either.
All right. So that's disconcerting. I'm just totally worried that the world isn't on fire, but it's okay. It seems like US East 1 is making up for it. All right. Anything else release focus before we moved on to the PRs, incoming, outgoing, and whatnot?
One almost wonders if the two are correlated.
Is the status page for US East 1 all green, or is it? I just gotta know.
It was all green for a while, but it is now mostly. It's still red. It's been red for. This is a long one. So
yeah, it is. It is kind of a long one.
Yeah.
All right, hug ups out there to those of you working on that. All right. If you haven't been to this meeting in a while, we added a new section where we go over PRs closed, PRs opened, and issues and whatnot. We kind of look at the list and say, hey, is there anything important here that the community should be made aware of? So, AJ, you got 3 of them here, I think. And I flagged those as new. I think these are yours, right, AJ?
No, only the bottom one, the boundaries, check permissions was mine.
Okay. Do you want to give us a quick summary on this one?
Sure. That one was for the check permissions filter had it was trying to do some work to build and send in a permission boundary, and there were a couple IAM resources like groups. Group was the one that we got an issue about, where they don't support boundaries, so we need to go in and see why it was trying to send one anyway. Okay. And it turned out that we were able to just pull out some code that we didn't need anymore. It was just because the permission, the IAM policy simulator will look at permission boundaries by default. So we were able to just pull out some stuff that we had in there. And so then it ended up fixing an issue about IAM group permission checks that were failing, kind of as a side effect.
So You're saying that whenever you give it a principal, will always look at the boundaries for the simulator. Always look at the.
Yeah, and I wasn't aware of that. I know you mentioned that you weren't aware of that either. I thought that you had to explicitly tell it, but it looked like it just did it by default. And I mean, maybe somebody else knows. I could not find a way to have it not consider the permission boundary, except if I sent like overrode it with an admin policy, which felt like a little weird. So if somebody knows a better way to handle that, that's cool. But what's here looks like it fixes things. That's all I got for that one.
All right. Any other PRs or issues here that we'd like to point out? I did highlight the 0.9.15.0 release prep and depth graph update if you want to drill down and see what the status of that one is. Figure that might be useful if that's important to you over the next 2 weeks or so. Anything else jumping out at you, Kapil? You could scroll down, Marco.
Yeah, the Custodian permits push gateway is interesting. For some users at scale, that the metrics cost can get a little bit high. I'd like to see if we can do that via open telemetry tracing, though, just to have something that will give some abstraction over multiple implementations.
All right. And with that, that's pretty much it. Does anyone have any open items or things they'd like to see discussed? Open issues or open PRs that you'd like to see attention to? This is the last call for help for the year. Going once? Going twice? All right, that's it, everybody. Have a happy rest of 2021 and have a safe holidays, those of you that celebrate. And we'll see everyone on January 4th. And look forward to the notes and the video links and all that good stuff. We'll be hitting the Google group either later today or early tomorrow. Thanks, everyone. Sorry my camera's busted, but
Sounds good. Thanks, everybody.
happy Tuesday. Thanks, Marco, for the save. Cheers, Kapil.